This video is going to cover homework on page 652, number 29. So here's figure 25-124 right here. Okay, so part A says find the angle P when arc BG, okay, I put a G right there instead of a C, okay, so no big deal. So when arc BG is 64 degrees and arc AG is 134.46. Okay, so let's remember from page 640, you'll see a figure very similar to this, and the equation for finding the angle is equal to the larger arc, which in this case is arc AG, minus the smaller one, which is BG, divided by 2. So that will be angle P. Okay, so for A, we say AG 134.46 minus 64 divided by 2. All right. Let's figure that one out first. So fraction bar 134.46 minus 64. Put a 2 there. 35.23. Okay, so that's part A. Part B, determine the arc in degrees for AC when the angle P, so let's go ahead and B. So now we kind of have to use some algebra. Using this, we're going to be solving for one of the arcs when we're given the angle. So the angle is 59, and that is equal to AG, which we do not know yet, subtracting, there it is, 80 divided by 2. So we need to algebraically solve for AG. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply the 2 out, 2 over 1. So this becomes a 1. Then I'm going to multiply this side by 2 as well. So I will have, oh, sorry, I got to do that on the calculator. I make too many dumb mistakes when I don't. Okay, so that's 118 is equal to AG minus 80. So I need to add 80 to both sides, add 80, and I get AG is equal to 198. I got to check something on that. 198 plus 80, 278. Okay, that makes sense. So what I just did was I added this arc and this arc, 198 plus 80, and I get 278. So that means that the arc length from here to here is 278 with an angle of 59. 59 is a pretty big angle out here, especially since the last one was 35. So that means that that makes sense that it would be such a huge arc right there. Okay, now part C. It says determine angle P when BA is 119.32. Okay, so let's do this first. What I want to find out, so what it's saying is that the angle, the arc from here to here is 119.32. Now that arc really doesn't play into the angle here. It's these two arcs right here that do that. However, if I'm given this one right here, I can find what this one is. So all I do is take 360 and subtract 119.32, and I get 240.68. So the arc length from B through G to A is 240.68. That's how I use that 119. Now, it says that BG is half of this. Okay. So in other words, this arc right here is half of this arc right here. Okay? So if I were to put a point somewhere in the middle right here, come on, call it X, doesn't matter. So that means that this arc right here, B to G, is the same as G to X and also the same as X to A. Okay? So because this one is exactly half of this one, if I cut this one in half, this from here to here will be the same as from here to here, and also from here to here. So that means that I have 1, 2, 3 arcs that are making up this 240.68. Okay? Make sure you understand that. So this arc, and this arc are all the same. So there's 3 of them. There's 3 parts in there. And I want to know how much one part is, because once I find out how much one part is, that is going to be the distance from there to there. And then I multiply it by 2 to get the arc from here to here. Okay, so I just take 240.68, it's already in my calculator, divide that by 3, and I get BG arc is equal to, now I'm going to have to round this, 80.23. Okay? So that's 80.23. All right, so that means that, multiply that by 2, 80.23 times 2. So that means that arc AG is equal to 160.43. not very well written A right there. So now I know what these two arcs are. I can go ahead and put them into this equation and come up with angle P. All right, so we go angle P is equal to 160.46 minus 80.23 divided by 2. All right, so 160.46 minus 80.23, divide that by 2, and I get angle P is equal to 40.1. Close enough, just a little over 40. Now, obviously, there is some rounding going on, so if you've rounded a little bit differently, you might not get exactly what I got, which is fine. But you might have, for example, you might have 40.2, or you might have just 40, or you might have 39.9. It all depends on exactly how you rounded. We haven't talked about rounding in this class. It really wasn't part of the class. But obviously, if you get like 35, that's too far. Or if you get 43 or something like that, that's too far too. But the idea of Part C, which I think is what a person might have the most trouble with, is because of the way it's worded. It says that, first of all, it gives you this arc right here, which, I mean, why would they do that when this equation talks about these two arcs here? Well, they give you this one so that you can find this one right here. Then it says that this one, or rather this one, is half of this one. So that means that you've got 3 parts, 1 part here, 1 part here, and 1 part here. Divide that by 3, and each part is that amount. So this will be twice that one. And once we get the arcs, then we can put them into this formula and find out what angle P is.